What's up, everybody? I'm up here in Bridger Bowl, Montana, having a good old time. It's absolutely beautiful outside right now. Anyways, I wanted to make a short intro for this video because I was going through the footage that Alex gave me on the SD card last night, and I realized that I got the videos a little out of order. So the videos of him working on his hatch that are going to be included in this video were actually filmed prior to him sanding and primering his fiberglass front end. So when you watch the video, it's going to look a little goofy because the front end's not going to be on it yet, but that's just because this took place before what I posted in the last video. So just be known to that. I didn't mean to interrupt it or to confuse you guys. That was just my bad. I apologize. But yeah, without any further ado, let's hop on in there. There's going to be some stuff about him working on his car, and then some about the tearing into the rear end of the Benz. So yeah, let's jump on in it.
We are back working on the hatch. I am going to get a coat of primer on this thing. I just don't want the surface rust to kind of take over, so I need to mask off my little cert thing real quick and just slap some primer on this thing, and so I can get this car sitting outside for a little bit when we put it under car cover, and then it'll be benzo time. So I'm gonna get to it and just shoot some self-etching on it and see where it goes. I got the roll cage all sanded down for the mission. Alright, so you can kind of see the difference. I got it all sanded down, and it kind of gets rid of the discoloration. As cool as it is, I really like how it looks. Need to come off just for getting this cage ready to go. So the whole thing is sanded down. I've been kind of touching up a couple little areas here and there, and then what I'm doing next is just going to help the primer. I just got some etching primer. Just throw a coat on this for now. See if I can sand this. There we go. All right, we're good to go. All right. So I'm going to use some isopropyl, just isopropyl alcohol, just some crap you can get from CVS, Walgreens, whatever. And I'm going to be spreading this on the paper towel, or pouring some out, and then let's see if I can do this. Sorry for moving you all around. Fold this up. Take a little bit, ain't got to have a lot. And I'm going to wipe down the entire cage with this. Now this is going to remove any oil, any excess debris, metal dust, stuff like that. So look how dirty that is already. And I had already wiped down the cage with just a regular paper towel as well, one of these blue towels. So I'm going to get this cage all wiped down, and then don't touch it. It's like a game of Operation, and then I'll get some paint on it. All right, got the roll cage all primed up and stuff. Looks really good. Used some self-etching primer. It came out really, really nice. I'm glad we were able to do that. I am going to get this car outside. I'm going to get it all cleaned up. I'm going to power wash it out. It is it's pretty clean right now, but I still want to just get the rest of the stuff out of there. But yeah, so at least it's got some primer on it for now, and then go from there. I got to continue sanding on the inside of here, but it's almost there. It's almost there. All right, got the hatch all cleaned up, power washed it. Some sunlight so you can actually really see this thing for once. It seems kind of redundant. It looks so much better in person. Need to figure out how to use the lighting on one of these things. But anyway, got it all hooked up in there. So I'm gonna get it air dried off, and spray it out with the air hose, and get the rest of it dry. And I'd say this thing is ready to go for the next steps. Now I need to start putting body panels and stuff on it, and getting the rest of the chassis mocked up. Cool. What's up, everybody? I am working on the hatch again. Last you saw, the roll cage got etch primered, and now I'm working on the rear bumper. So I'm getting it cut for the diffuser that's up there. So what I did was I had to cut this bumper for the chute mount, and what I did was I mounted the bumper on the car itself, and then I actually put a socket inside of where the chute mount would go, because this doesn't quite come out to where the inside of the bumper is. So I put a socket in here, and that's pretty much as close as it could get. And basically I put the bumper on there, crawled up under, jacked this thing up, crawled up underneath of there, and then pushed this socket out until it hit the bumper, and then I just drew a line around it with a Sharpie, and then that marked my hole. And then from the inside I cut the bumper out, got that hole all nice and pretty, and then I did the same thing for the diffuser. So I found the center of the bumper, and then I found the center of my diffuser plate here, and you can see I have some Sharpie that was right there. Marked where the center of it needed to be, marked down to the edge of the hole, divided the difference, drew my cross marks right there, and I used an 1.5-inch hole saw, and I just cut right through it and made a nice easy cut. And then when I mounted this back on the bumper to find out where all the holes and stuff were, I sat this on the bumper, and I actually stuck the hole saw back in it, and that kind of keeps the hole, true between the two. And then I was able to set, get this level basically to where it needed to be, and then drilled a couple holes, marked it, aligned it, and then did the 2 outside holes, mounted it down, put some hardware in it, and then drilled all the rest of the holes corresponding. So from there I just marked with a Sharpie the inside of these ovals and stuff that need to be cut out. And I was going to try to just cut circles out of the bumper, but I think I'm just going to cut a big rectangle out. I put this on the inside. I got all my holes and stuff drilled. I want to make sure that I still leave enough material there that I don't interfere with any of that, so it still has a good mounting area. So I'm going to just take my cutoff wheel, and I'm just going to run right along this this line right here on the inside and just cut this entire square out, and then take it off, and everything should be good to go. So I'm going to get that square cut real quick. Alright, so got the rectangles cut. The only problem with using a cutoff wheel in this ABS crap is it likes to melt it rather than cut it when it goes through, which is fine because this stuff will break off and it'll actually provide like a really crispy cut. So you'll see when I take this tape off, and then what I'll do is I just take a file and I just run the file along this edge, and it'll actually make it super crispy. So I'm going to get this other one out. Once it passes and cuts and all this little metal and stuff, it likes to melt and hold itself back in there. So I'm going to get this other one out, and then we'll get the tape off of it. Alright, here's one side cleaned up. Just takes all that burr, that plastic burrs and stuff off. So this is the one that I still haven't done yet, but big difference and stuff, just takes a little bit of time. And then we can fit this piece on here and make sure none of the plastic's sticking out, or you can see that like that basically. So I want to make sure we don't see any of that. It's a nice clean hole. So get the other side cleaned up and get this thing mounted back on there. Alright guys, a little update on this Benzo. So as you know, I got the front done, both sides. Now the front one's very easy. Now I've been working on the back a little bit. I fought it all day the other day, and it pretty much kicked my ass. So there is the outer race of the bearing and what's left of the rear wheel bearing. I got the hub assembly here, or just the hub should I say here. Still got to get the inner race off. More than likely going to have to cut it off. And then here is what is left of the rear spindle and yeah, mission. So I'm going to replace the e-brake. There's the emergency brake shoes right here. They're pretty rusty. I want to replace that, springs, stuff like that. Now there are this Mercedes uses a 5-piece rear end. There's one bar here, one bar here, there's 3, there's 4, and this 5th piece is this sway bar link. So that being said, I am going to get a kit that replaces all 5 of them pieces, so 10 pieces total. And then the rear subframe bushings, those are going to get replaced as well. So it'll be like damn near the spindle is coming off, but it'll still be held on there by not a lot, actually. Yeah, the lower control arm will be the only thing holding the spindle on. That and the e-brake, but everything back here is just absolutely trashed and needs to be replaced. So I'm going to try to work on getting the other one. As you can see, the axle's still in here too. It's kind of jammed up in there, but I did get it off of the rear differential itself. I'm gonna get that cleaned up, and once the spindle's kind of out of the way, I'll be able to get that axle out. Now the other side I haven't started on because God, pulling that hub is been such a mission. The rear end of this thing is really, really crusty. The rest of the car is in great shape. It's just the suspension is just absolutely hammered. So that right there, I don't think I've ever seen a caliper that rusty before. So that explains why the brakes don't really work at all. And I mean, they work, but like it pulsates the ABS, and then the ABS light comes on. So I'm going to just go ahead and go out on a whim and say that's what that is. Again, 5 pieces on this side. I still got to get this axle out. I have broken the axle nut loose. I loosened all the bolts on the CV, on the differential for the axle, but I have not pulled them all the way out yet. Really been kind of dreading getting to that side because the other side's been such a mission, but this is all the parts that I have for the rear end. So as you can see, it's like all the hardware and stuff. Now this actually came with the rear wheel bearings. So in order to get these CV axles out, Mercedes uses a stupid, I don't have the other two, but they use a 10mm triple square XZN bit, which looks like one of these. So that's what factory Mercedes was, and they have changed to a 6-point inverted Torx, which is what this bolt is. And it's also got some blue Loctite. It's grade 10.9. So I had to go source some sockets that would do it. Now this is an E10 socket, which is at 6 point. And then obviously it uses a 12-point 30mm axle nut. And then getting the XZN bits out, which was quite a mission. Anyway, so I got all the new stuff here. I do have new FEQ axles. These are German-made axles. These are kind of on the lower end of quality, but the other ones are trashed, and these things are better than nothing. Now, it did come with its own hardware. I'm not going to use these. I mean, these are 12.9s and stuff, but there's no Loctite on them. I'm going to use what Mercedes has intended to go back into the CV axle, which would be these ones. And then I'm also going to use the FAG axle nuts over the FEQ ones. I also got so this is an OEM Mercedes neutral shift selector, or neutral safety switch, my bad. Neutral safety switch. And then these are the little tiny bushings that hold the shifter. Basically, they're the shifter bushings, so this thing doesn't have so much play in it. So it'll help tighten that up a little bit. So kind of while I'm under there type deal. And then these are the cute little Ekibono brakes that go on the rear of the calipers. These things are real tiny, but these are still 2-piston calipers, which is pretty impressive for being how small they are. Here's all the hardware and stuff, and then the brake shoes themselves in the rear. Now I haven't taken this out yet. Let's take a look at what these look like. Yeah, so that's nice that it comes with all the springs and stuff. Star adjuster nuts. Even comes with more caliper bolts. Like, why? Huh. And it even comes with new e-brake, or the disc set screws, and all the springs. Everything you need. Yep. So I'm going to get these all swapped out too. Literally everything is just going to be brand new. in this car. There's the old front ones and stuff. So yeah, plenty of work to keep me busy for a while. I mean, this is insane. So I'm going to get the other side pulled apart, and then I think that 10-piece suspension, that wishbone suspension system comes in Friday. So as soon as I get that, I'll be able to pull the rest of this side and get that spindle damn near off and start replacing everything. But yep, fun stuff. All right, progress. I got one side. Where's my flashlight? There it is. Got one side completely apart. Oh, what a nightmare. So here's all the parts. I ended up just completely removing the knuckle. I got to press this bearing out. As you can see, this thing is not doing so good. Not bearing, bushing, my bad. So I got to press that out with the press. I got to get the rest of this pin out. That was part of one of these bars. Out of this one, yeah, you can tell it's just completely trashed, nothing left of it. So those are 4 of the bars. I got the backing plate off. I'm going to clean these 3 components up. I'm going to reuse them because they're still solid. This is not too bad. I just hit it all with the wire wheel, break as much of this rust off as possible. This looks like it was a gasket once upon a time. I'll get them all completely cleaned up, get the rust off of them. I still need to get this race off, and then I'm going to give them a nice coat of black, just some enamel crap. That'll make it look a whole lot better. There's the old axle comparative to the new one. The new ones are quite a bit beefier, so I'm thinking these axles will be just fine. As you can tell, these new ones seem to be like a multi-piece axle. They might actually separate right here, which is fine. And this is for ABS as well. So I might have to knock this ABS ring off. Obviously, this axle does not have it, nor do I think there's an ABS sensor on the back here. So I have to do some looking around, make sure I don't have to knock that ABS ring off. The rest of it looks like it should be fine. Just sticks in the back of the hub. So here's all the old bearings or the old bolts and stuff. There's a little tiny pin. This holds the e-brake on. I'm going to reuse this bracket and this pin and these 4 little bolts. And the rest of these 4 bolts and stuff should all come with the new stuff. So I'm not too worried about that. And here's what it looks like on the back of the car. You can tell it's pretty bare. Like I said, I only have 4 pieces off. I think the 5th piece is going to be this sway bar end link right here. I'm just going to leave that on there until I get the new stuff in, just to make sure that's what it is, but I'm going to assume it is. I don't want to make any more work, so I'm probably going to cap off that brake line right there, just so no water gets in it, and then give this a good power washing once I get the other side apart too. Kind of spray all this crap out of the garage as well. But yeah, a ton of work. So what I have learned from doing this is when I go around to pulling the other side, since I have to pull this hub anyway, or the knuckle anyway, the original plan was just to replace the wheel bearing, obviously brake rotor, caliper, stuff like that. But upon looking at these wishbones, I'm just going to replace all the suspension components back there, bushing, stuff like that. So I'm just that requires the complete removal of the knuckle, which is going to make taking this wheel bearing out a whole lot better. I used a slide hammer to remove the bearing on the other side, and that was such a nightmare. So I'm going to get this side apart and just strip it all the way down, and then get all these bars and stuff off, and then just pull the entire knuckle itself, and then utilize my press over there and just press the wheel bearing out. I think that's going to be a much better solution to this rusty bucket of crap, nightmarish hell. But yeah, it'll be nice when it's done. So I'm going to start tearing this side apart and seeing what I can do, getting as much as I can get done until some new parts arrive. Alright, I am back at it. A bunch of work has been done, got both sides apart. I repainted the knuckle, the hub, and the dust shield. And then I also got the new bearings pressed in with the new C-clips. I kind of refinished the inside of the bearing surface a little, just cleaned up with some Scotch-Brite and stuff, but this thing came out super nice. It's basically brand new. Piece of tape still. Got the shock out of this side. Let's see, that goes like that. And then obviously all the e-brake stuff, and then the hub will go in there. and then, you know, all the pretty shiny stuff. So here's the other side, and then everything else you've seen before. I do have this side completely apart. I got the sway bar kind of hanging there too. I took the mount off, and the end link, which is the 5th piece to that bar. Also got the, like I said, the spring out of it, and the lower control arm is basically off. This bushing isn't too bad. Still got some springiness to it, but I am going to replace that lower control arm bushing, clean this thing up, give it a fresh coat of black. The usual. Here is one of the sway bar bushings. So I have some more OEM Mercedes parts. I got brand new bushings for it. I got the end cap brackets for it. Let's see. I got all new bolts, Mercedes bolts for it, and then I got some new sway bar end links. So I don't know if the sway bar end links are coming with that 5-piece wishbone kit. If they are, I'll use those and then just keep these. I also got some new top hats for the springs. Now there's 3 different kinds. There's 1 nub, 2 nub, and 3 nub, indicating the heights of them. This is a 2 nub. You can see the 2 little nubs right there. I'm going to take this one off, and I'm going to put the 1 nub ones on there, which is going to lower the car just a little bit. Probably nothing even noticeable, but with those 16-inch rims and stuff looking a little bit bigger, I'm hoping that it'll lower it a little bit, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just going to run those ones. So yeah, everything's basically apart and good to go. I have to pull the other side's shocks. Also get new shocks. Those are coming in as well. I got to pull the end link off this one. Got to pull the bushing mount off that. And then after that, I need to go pick up 2 more jack stands. Right now it's on 2 here, and then the jack here, and that's holding the whole car up in the back, which is pretty sketchy. But I mean, it doesn't move that much. So I'm going to get a couple jack stands, and then I'm going to jack this thing way up, and then I'm going to drop the rear subframe. Now the subframe's got 4 bushings on it, 1 up front, 1 on the back, same for the other side, and then there's 2 that hold the actual differential itself. So I'm going to pull all that apart, clean up the subframe, paint it, and then put in brand new subframe bushings, new differential mount bushings, and I'm pretty sure that covers every single part on the back of this thing, like everything. I don't think there's 1 bushing left that it will not be getting replaced. And of course it's all OEM Mercedes stuff. So yeah, here's these little covers that go over the lower control arms, probably clean them up. But yeah, so right now I need to get the other side apart, which is just a few bolts, and then I'm going to take apart. Yeah, this thing's gonna look super crispy with like all new hardware and stuff, and new brake shoes, or e-brake shoes, and everything in there, something like that. But yeah, it's gonna look super crispy, and then a fresh rotor on top of that. Cover everything up. Yeah, it's gonna look nice. So more to come with that. Like I said, yeah, waiting on a few more parts to come in. I need to drop the subframe, and then yeah, pretty much keep tearing it apart. Back at it again with the Benz. I got some more parts for it. So got all the wishbones. Now these are the Les Morfondeurs. Yes, that one. So if it's not OEM Mercedes stuff, it was stuff that was made in Europe and in Germany specifically. So these are all the 4 wishbones, and then the 5th piece of the 10-piece is the sway bar end links. Now I also got some subframe bushings. These are the front subframe bushings. I'm still waiting on the rears. These are lower control arm bushings. These are the inner ones, and then these are the outer ones. Now these ones will get pressed into the knuckle right here, and then it'll just be all the way new. Also got that. It wouldn't be a quality build if it didn't include an OEM Mercedes wiper blade. with the corresponding wiper blade refill. Yep. Sway bar shit, you guys already saw that. Springs, struts are on the way. Outer subframe bushings are on the way. And I think that's it. I also got some liquid moly. There's some diesel purge stuff. It's like, yeah, just some rowdy stuff you just pour into the diesel and make it tractor. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much it. I gotta pull the lower control arms and the shocks out of this thing, and then I'll get the lower subframe off. I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, and then get that all freshened up and painted black. I can't wait until this car is back together. I have so many parts in here, and it is ridiculous. Yeah, here's the other one. They're pretty nice. I'll show you what the old one looked like. The old one was custom. Here, let me go over here real quick. Yep, custom. Alright, there it is. That is the old one. So you can tell that needed to be replaced. This thing is trashed. Yeah, playing, it's just ridiculous. It's just no good. But a lot of, so stuff like this is what gets overlooked, right, when you're doing stuff to a car. So you buy a car and, you know, you don't spend a whole lot of cash on it, or you do, and, you know, it's got a lot of mileage, or it's old, or whatever. You know, you put some AutoZone pads and rotors on the thing, and, you know, maybe a caliper or two if it needs it, and ride it down the road, and then it just doesn't ride right. It rides like an old car. But you replace everything, all the bushings, all the everything, you'll really see how well that these things ride down the road. I mean, you send one of these body styles, you know, 80 mile an hour down the freeway, and they just run good. Now granted, this thing ain't gonna go very fast. This ain't no 500e, but it is it's still pretty neat and nostalgic for what it is. So I think a paint job on this car, jams and everything, is really going to change the look of this thing, and then it might actually be worth the shit. Who knows? Alright guys, what's up? Another day working on the benzo. Damn near got everything. Got all the wishbones, got all that over. Just picked up these new Sachs gas shocks, and this is what makes a Benz a Benz. Driving around, you need good suspension, you need good springs, good shocks, and along to go with all the bushings and bearings and stuff like that. But these Sachs shock absorbers are the business, so I can't wait to put those on. The front still has some Bilsteins on it. I think we're just gonna run them for now. Lower control arm painted, springs painted, new top hat, bearing pressed into the knuckle, or bushing pressed in the knuckle, bearing pressed in, good to go. Even came with a $100 wine voucher for them for shocks. Also got 8 brand new. Wow, almost lost that. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. 8 brand new Mercedes glow plugs, or 6 should I say? Yeah, there's 6 here. 6 glow plugs. It'll be fresh. I don't think I said this before, but I also do have, in the sea of mess back here, just parts game, I do have new injector fuel lines. These are these metal hard lines right here. I got brand new ones of those, so I'm going to swap those out. These ones are just a little rusty and could go in for a rehab. And also got new injectors for it. Got 6 new injectors. I'm going to change those out. Now the injector pump in this thing has been rebuilt before. There was a whole pile of service records that came with this thing. I bought it for $250. But anyway, the injector pump has been rebuilt. The AC compressor is no longer here. Somebody's put on a different belt and gotten rid of the AC. I don't know what was wrong with it. I don't know if the compressor seized up or something. So that's interesting. why that's not there, so that's going to have to get redone. Try to get a new compressor for this thing. There we go, kind of see down there. Back in 2012, it had new motor mounts put in. Those were a common problem on these things. I still have a lot to clean off of this. The motor mount should be back here. A little hard to see, but there's the little baby turbo. Get the sucker changed out, but yeah, the engine needs a little bit of work, and it's gonna get gone through. But right now, it's as far as fixing the suspension on this thing. And it does have a brand new interstate battery too. Yeah, I'm stoked for this car. I can't wait till it goes to paint. I still got bolts and bushings. 2 more bushings and like 8 bolts is what I'm waiting for to come in. Once I have them, it's game on. This thing's going together so I can get the hell out of my garage and go to paint. Alright, what's up? Back. We are getting the lower subframe off. Oh, here's the underside of the car. Hopefully you can see that a little bit brighter out today. Yeah, so you can kind of tell just how bare and empty it is. I mean, there's just nothing going on. So I got the bolts out. This one, you kind of have to like press it off. It's kind of strange. There's a contraption that you use to get it off. So I want to try to see if I can get it off without one. But the diff is up on the subframe here. Oh, this is what I'm just noticing. So this flex plate, it's instead of like a U-joint, and it seems to be in pretty good condition, so that's good. Must have been replaced. But yeah, I'm gonna get the rest of this cleaned up. Other than just like some small surface rust, this thing's really not too bad. I'm gonna get the diff drained. Nothing's here. And get it filled back up. I need to clean the hell out of this thing. And then I'm probably gonna give the subframe a fresh coat of black. This sway bar is just kind of in there, but that's completely off. Get a fresh coat of paint on the spring over here and on this lower control arm. So I got the other bushing in the freezer right now cooling off, but 4 bolts, 2 bushings remain, and I can put it all together. Alright, got quite a ways on this Benz. I'm tired of just showing parts, man. I just want to assemble this thing. So I've been kind of hauling ass, and I got some stuff done. So I got the subframe resprayed, pushed into front, subframe bushing, hung the strut bar back up, put a new shock on there. I still have the rear bushings to do. That is what I'm waiting on for tomorrow. Once I get the rear subframe bushings, I'll be able to bolt that up, bolt the entire subframe back up, and it's game on. And it's throwing everything together. So came out pretty nice. Also threw just some silver up there. It'll turn black as soon as you drive it on the road anyway, but looks good for now. It'll fade evenly again. So I still have this shock to do. I had to move everything around in the trunk, so, and then yeah, there's just the other side just sprayed black again. So yeah, it's pretty legit. So tomorrow it is game on. Hopefully I should be able to set up like a time lapse or something. I'll figure it out. And I'll set the camera up, and then it'll be the moment everybody's been waiting for, because this has been driving me insane. So tomorrow, all of that. It should be relatively easy because everything's all brand new bolts. All the bushings are brand new, the wheel bearing. I mean, everything's just new. So it'll be like assembling it at the factory, just nice and easy. So cool. Get back to y'all tomorrow. All right, little progress here. Got all the arms on this thing. Oh, let's see if I can show this. Yep, got all the arms on this thing. Got the axle in. Got the new strut on. There's the knuckle. And so these are the 2 bolts that I'm waiting for. It's this last cross member bar wishbone chingadera. This thing goes on here in the bottom here. And this bag did not come with bolts, so we had to order those. So that's 2 there, 2 on the other side, 4 bolts.
and the rear subframe bushings, and that's it. I got everything else. So got this side on. I haven't put the axle on the other side. I'm going to wait till I get the hub on it. Just because the exhaust is in the way and it just kind of is a little tighter to get them bolts on and stuff. Wait till the subframe's up. But I still got to replace this strut. Said I got to get in through the trunk and move everything around, so do that tomorrow. But yep, I'd say this thing is going to ride nice. Alright, little update on the Benzo. Got pretty far on it. Got all the arms and stuff on this side. Got subframe up. Got one bushing in. Still waiting on the other bushings. They did not come in today. It's unfortunate. Got the e-brake set up. Dust shield on there. Everything buttoned up over here. Yeah, pretty legit. Got all the bolts and stuff except one lower control arm that goes onto the knuckle. I only have the nut. I don't have the bolt, so I'm waiting on that to come in. Got this other side. Got the knuckle up there at least. I gotta wait to put the dust shield on later after I get the e-brake cable in and I get that lower bolt down there swapped out. I just have a wrong one in there just to hold it up for now. So I'll just swap that out and I'll be able to put it back together. So unfortunately on this other side I was trying to press the hub back in and I did freeze it just to try to make it easier. And yeah, it kind of blew out this bearing, which kind of sucks because this is a brand new bearing. So that's dumb. I'm going to have to make a contraption. Usually I've always been pretty successful at just kind of beating the hub in. Already got the bearing out completely, got the rest of the bearing, so that wasn't too hard since, like I said, it's all new stuff. So that sucks. Some bearings come out of Cincinnati, so I'll get another one ordered. Should be able to take that one back. But yeah, I'm going to have to try to create like a clamping system, basically, like a through hole clamping system. And I also had the axle in here as well. That may have been part of the problem, although I greased it up pretty good. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to make a contraption, basically. So I'm put the new bearing back in, freeze that, and I should be able to get that back in, put the retainer back on, and then I got some thread-all that I used to push out the bushings in the back, and I'm going to use them to push the bushings back in there. But yeah, so I'll be able to use that, create some bushings with some washers and stuff and hopefully it's strong enough to basically press this hub into this bearing. Yeah, and I'll freeze it again too, so I'll get a big washer that covers this face, and we'll be able to press against that, and then something from the back, in the back of the hub. So yep, update on that. So not as far as I originally thought I would get. I was hoping to get this car on the ground. The wheels are painted. They're getting tires tomorrow. I was hoping to have this car on the ground by tonight, but or by tomorrow. But that's unfortunate. Oh well, shit happens. Also got the e-brake or the calipers on the back painted up. Got them brake pads in there, new hardware and stuff. So those will be nice to put on, and then with the new brake lines. So yeah, I'll keep y'all updated. But as far as now, that was a kind of a setback. All right, it's going down on the Benzo. I got another wheel bearing. Got that pressed in. Put the hub in there. Put the axle back. Put everything back together. And damn, this thing looks really, really good. I hope it shows up well on this thing. But it's just new, like how it would come from the factory. It's pretty cool. Wheels are coming in. They're on their way. They're at the tire shop right now, getting tires. Like I said, these are just going to be the stockers that are on it, but they just got painted, so it'll be something till we get all the other 16s. But got all the parts and stuff in the trunk of this thing. And waiting on this side. Got the knuckle on, and this is what I ended up using to press the hub into this wheel bearing here. So it actually worked out really, really well. But I got all the e-brake stuff, bottom, everything else on this side. I'm waiting on those two bushings still and this bottom bolt. So the other side's together. I'm hoping to have this car
on the ground and on its wheels tonight. Moment of truth right here. Got the car leveled back out. Bam, she is all done. That was a ton of work, but literally everything was brand new. All the bolts, everything. So it's pretty cool. Let's see, here's the subframe. Hopefully you can see all that. Gonna get it painted. Got the rear bushings in. Subframe sucked back up. Both sides are done. This side went together a whole lot easier with that tool. I still need to tighten the axles. Both the CVs, I need a wheel on first so I can stop the diff from turning. And then I am about ready to bleed the brakes, so wait for everybody to come over. Got a mighty vac, but still just going to screw around and we'll get the brakes bled on this thing and put the wheels and tires on it. So the wheels did come in today. They're just them stockers. They just got a fresh coat of some silver, you know, nothing special. And then they just got back from the tire shop, so we got some brand new Cooper tires. Nothing fancy, just something to roll on. These, like I said, these are not the wheels and tires that are going to be on this thing. These are just temporary, just to get them out of here, just to get this car out of here and into paint. So still got to locate and find them other wheels. Also got some lug nuts. Got them polished up. Just hit them a little with the wire wheel, really nothing fancy. Just cleaned all the rust and crud off of them. So I'm going to get to bleeding the brakes on this thing and tightening some stuff up. A couple last things and get the wheels and cover all this beautifulness up.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. I know it's another long, dragging video of just talking about what's going on, but you know, you guys need to be updated. I also am in the same boat as you guys. I really don't know what's going on. It's been 2 months or so since I've been home, and I got about another month left. So this will probably be the last video that you guys see until I get home. But once I get home, the video should resume and be more normal. Hopefully weekly, twice a week maybe would be great. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, and until next time.